What a pleasure it is for me to be here tonight and to encourage you along the way. I have had a long relationship and a very positive one with Galen and Becky Van Meenen. They're dear people in the Lord. In fact, we've been talking at the table. I also know Galen's two brothers fairly well. Dwayne, his older brother, was the provost at ACU for about 14 years. Galen, of course, was on our ACU faculty for a number of years, missions faculty. And his brother Mark is vice president for finance at Rochester College. And these are Christian education people to the core. And I know a number of you believe in Christian education as well. I've met a number and I recognize a number of your faces, even though some of you are aging at more rapid rates than I am. I have, as I said, admired Galen and Becky for a long time, but I don't know when that admiration got any higher than when they told me the story of the beginning of missional life and of their responsiveness to the call of God. It's a truly remarkable story. We would not certainly be here tonight, and who would have ever guessed several years ago there would be a group this large tonight. And the momentum would be going as fast as it is and as well as it is, if God were not in it. I have gone back to being what I was before I got into what I call administrivia, a professor. And I teach church history. We don't have a single class period that goes by that I don't stop at the end of the class and say, what are the lessons for the church? And not only do we do that in history, but I do that mentally, as I think you do also. What are the lessons for the future? Not where we are now. I was watching a movie not long ago. I think it was an old Western, as I recall. And the old veteran gunman, some of the young bucks hinted that he might not be quite the shot that he used to be. So they were shooting at stationary cans. He picked one up, threw it in the air, and hit it 3 times before it hit the ground. That's something that I kind of see that happening now, because when the young cowboy asked the old cowboy, he just kind of stood there with his mouth open. That's after the young cowboy threw the can up and fired 3 times and didn't hit it at all. The old cowboy went up to the young one and said, "Son, I aim where it's going to be, not where it is." And I think Galen and Becky and those whom they have called into their wake are aiming where this country is going to be. And I would even add where it should be. That's what I think is so impressive. I spend a lot of time talking to church leaders. I spend a lot of time trying to analyze what's happening in our country culturally, socially, religiously. These are interesting times. But I am sensing a freshness and a renewed interest on the part of congregational leaders. Our Elder Link workshops at ACU are coming, the people are coming in record numbers now, and I have a chance to sit around the table at lunch and talk to these elders from all over the place. And I hear an openness to renewal that I've not heard before. And I think that's a very encouraging thing. And Mission Alive is aiming where it's going to be, not where it is. I spend also a lot of time trying to figure the ways of God out, don't you? I wandered into the book of Job the other day and saw the ridiculousness of it all over again. God has a way of working through unlikely people, at least by the world standards. In unlikely ways, at least by the world standards. In unlikely times. And just when you think things are really becoming so secularized that the gospel doesn't have a chance, it breaks out anew. The thing that excites me about Mission Alive, I was going to say it's newness and its freshness, but it's really very old in its concept. And that's what excites me so much about what is taking place and taking place so rapidly. It's like leaven spreading through the dough. It is growing. It is silent, but it is growing. At the Cyber Institute for Church Ministry, we embrace several partners, ministry partners along the way, and we're proud to have Mission Live as one of these partners. And wherever I go, I talk about these other ministries, and they are here on our website, and we give connections, web connections, and other information. Help spread the word. And so I'm a partner with you, at least in the Cyber Institute side of things, to help spread the word about Mission Alive. It occurs to me also that from a worldly point of view, things will always be messy. When it comes to congregational life, when it comes to church planting, we see frustration, we see challenges, we see obstacles that from a human standpoint appear to be insurmountable. But time after time after time, we could tell stories all night of how God has stepped in at unlikely times with unlikely people in unlikely places to bring about His will in our lives. That messiness is the price of human free will and our ability to say yes or no to God. That messiness is the cost of sin that cost Jesus His sacrifice. And finally, the love of God compels us, I think, to share the good news of the gospel. Passive discipleship is not going to get the job done. We've tried that. And while it has limited value, I suspect, truth be known, I've influenced as many people off the tracks of goodness to the Lord as I have on the tracks. And so we're all sinners saved by grace and need to stop and help somebody along to see the Lord a little more clearly. Often it's in unlikely places. And often the voice of God comes to us through unlikely people and unlikely times. But the thing that I would leave with you today is the encouragement that I have by watching movements like this. It is so encouraging to see this freshness, this sense of renewal. It's often so encouraging to hear these stories about church planting in hard places, by the way, in hard places. I love to learn from anybody I can learn from a better way. And I do a lot of listening, I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of watching and asking of questions. But I can tell you personally that Mission Alive is one of the most exciting things that I've seen in a long time. A tremendous opportunity, and I commend you for your presence here tonight. And I would encourage you to support this ministry in any way that you can. I believe God is in it, and God is moving. And praise be to God for those who will be in that number in heaven, simply because of what was done here tonight in this place. I believe it, and God bless you for being here. Thank you.